Hey, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is not a pre-fight episode or a post-fight episode about any fight card. Today's episode is simply just to get to know me, because a lot of you guys have been watching my episodes for the longest time on YouTube and finding me on Google+, which the name of this episode is 5 Things About Nate Craig. And Nate Craig's going to be a capital C, lowercase n, because that's how my Google Plus name is on there. So find me on Google Plus or YouTube, Nate's MMA Corner. So yeah, this episode's just about me, so you get to know me more, get a little understanding where I'm coming from when I talk about MMA. And yeah, I try to be neutral and unbiased with my predictions and post-fight comments and whatnot. Even though I am a fan and I have fighters I love and hate and whatnot. So yeah, and just so you know about me too, get to know me a little bit more. So yeah, it's 5 facts about me that you may not have known. So the first one is I got into the sport because of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, being a big, famous WWE superstar, came to the UFC, as we all know, and dominated in winning, taking the title from Randy Couture and taking the interim title from Frank Mir, another interim title from Shane Carwin, and going off to retire from mixed martial arts. Yeah, I got into him because, I became a fan of MMA because of Brock Lesnar, and why I like Brock Lesnar so much, because, well, a lot of kids growing up in the United States, I like pro wrestling as a kid, and he was one of my favorite characters, wrestlers in the sport of pro wrestling. And he's Nordic American, I'm part Nordic, so I was like, oh, here's a hero for my people. This is awesome. He's representing good, and he's out there kicking butt, and he did a lot with the title in the UFC, so I was really proud of him, and I think he should go into the Hall of Fame. So that's how I got into MMA. It started off where I was only watching Brock Lesnar fights, then I was only watching the heavyweight division because of Brock, and then I transitioned to the other weight classes. Next thing you know, it just kind of became this thing where, oh, I watch all MMA now. So yeah, that's the first thing about me. The second part is, second thing about me is, I've met a lot of fighters over the years, and on all my episodes in the past and future episodes, you'll see where I show pictures of me and UFC fighters. And some of you might be wondering, well, how many UFC fighters, past and present, have I met over the years? And I actually did a count on this. It's about 70. I've met 70 past and present UFC fighters over the years of being a fan of mixed martial arts. From megastars like Matt Hughes to up-and-coming names like Sam Celia, who's fighting July 15th against Yautsen Meza, I believe it is. And up-and-comers like Johnny Case, as well as Hall of Famers like Randy Couture. I've met about 70 past and present UFC fighters, and Doug the Rhino Marshall from Bellator middleweight, I met him. Yeah, and then the first fighter I met, UFC fighter or just big, pro MMA fighter, was Heath Herring. He's the Texas Crazy Horse Herring. He actually used to live in my neck of the woods, and we would actually watch UFC pay-per-views together at a local bar. He was a regular there, I was a regular there, so it's one of those, we just happened to be there, and hey buddy, what's up, we'll watch him. And then he ended up moving out of the area. Last time I checked, he was living in Vegas, and he's doing well. Good for him. And the latest fighter I met is the notorious Conor McGregor in Los Angeles when I was over there for UFC 184. Yeah, also a great guy, and yeah, Heath Herring also a great guy. Wish both of them best of luck. Obviously, Conor's still fighting. I hope he has a successful career, keeps winning fights. Then the third thing about me that a lot of people don't know is I kind of stumbled across by accident doing this whole MMA YouTube show what happened is I was at a friend's house watching UFC 140, Machida versus Jones, and a friend of mine was like, why don't we just do a post-fight recap of the pay-per-view we just saw? And I was like, really? And we filmed it, and we posted on YouTube, and then I'm getting over 1,000 views. And then I was like, hey, if we keep doing this and we put a little bit more time in the next episode, we could have even more views. And we called ourselves Good Day MMA, and I fell in love with doing that show. And my buddy Scott D, I was Nate C on the show, he was Scott D, and we're doing the show, and we were our highest rated episode was 1,500 views, over 1,500 views, and we did a fair amount of episodes. Then the show went on a hiatus. The show actually never got canceled, never ended officially. It just went on a hiatus, and it's been that way. So who knows, we could see Good Day MMA back in the fold down the line. But I decided, as that was on hiatus, I wanted to go solo and do Nate's MMA Corner, and that's how, because I wanted to cover as many UFC fights as I possibly can, doing if I can a pre-fight and a post-fight for everything. So I went solo and started Nate's MMA Corner, and then the rest is history, as they say. And I've done over 130 episodes, I believe, last time I checked, of Nate's MMA Corner now, featuring pre and post UFC fight card episodes. And I have a winning record with my predictions, by the way, for the pre-fight shows. And people have actually come up to me and told me they won money betting on fights based off my predictions. Old high school buddy of mine said he won $400 betting on one of the fights. I think it's one of the light heavyweight fights he mentioned. But so I've won people money. Pretty interesting there. Then the fourth thing about me is, right now, I'm doing this whole MMA talk show thing and on YouTube, and I'm just looking to get my name out there. And of course, if Nate's MMA Corner takes off and I become a millionaire, then hey, that's great. I won't argue with that, but I'm looking at this too. It's practice for me to hone my skills and become that much better of an MMA journalist. And so pretty much pursuing a career as an MMA journalist is what I realized a few years ago. But before that, believe it or not, I was contemplating a career in the music industry as a musician or a writer, and that's on the back burner. But then after that, I actually contemplated a career as a marriage counselor. I took psychology classes at the community college out here, and I would hang out with one of my psychology professors outside of class, and we were kind of like a bromance type thing, and he was a cool guy. And I studied several topics of psychology as electives to get my AA in liberal arts at that college, and I thought about pursuing my bachelor's in psychology and being a marriage counselor, but I nixed that idea due to the fact that you really need a doctorate's degree to really make it worthwhile in psychology, and I wasn't willing to put in that much time and effort on school. I pretty much just want to get my bachelor's and leave it at that. And also I fell in love with MMA so much that I want a job where I don't have to worry about missing fights because of work. I want it to be where, I can work and watch fights, and what better job to do that than being an MMA journalist. So I was like, hey, if you get paid doing what you love to do, then it's like you never work a day in your life, as they say. So I kind of looked at it like that. And so, as of this recording, I'm pursuing my bachelor's in communications, just also doing the show and trying to get my name out there all over the internet, make a name for myself. So just get experience, and you know, all you really need in you know, journalism field is bachelor's. So I felt like it was a perfect fit. Why not? You know, it's a fairly winnable situation, and you know, less than 2 years left of school for my BA, full-time school that is. Yeah, but you know, yeah, whatever happens with me being an MMA journalist, you know, just keep, just keep picking at it one way or another. Something will happen. Yeah. Then the fifth thing about me is that a lot of people know, and maybe don't know about me, but people that know me personally may know, is that I live a few miles down the street from UFC superstar Cub Swanson. And my old co-host Scott D from Good Day MMA, he's actually, he lives on the same block. He's like a next door neighbor, and I run into Cub Swanson around town all the time. I live in Palm Desert, California. A few miles down the road is Indio, California. It's literally like a short drive or a really, really long walk away. And yeah, Cub Swanson lives in Indio. And I run into Cub Swanson around town, you know, just at random all the time. And yeah, first met him in like 2010. And yeah, when he was still in WEC. Then, ironically, when I went to Los Angeles for an autograph signing, for a UFC autograph signing, just like a, you know, a little small fan thing, a fight club thing, I was all excited, going, oh man, you know, I'm going to this autograph signing in LA to get pictures and autographs with some famous UFC fighters. And I was like, you know, but wouldn't that be ironic if Cub were there, because I see him around town all the time? And sure enough, he was. And I was like, oh, so I was actually more excited to, no disrespect to Cub, you know, I was a little bit more excited to meet the lesser known fighters because I never met them before. But all the fans, of course, because Cub Swanson was the biggest star at the autograph signing, you know, a lot of people were like, ooh, whereas me, it's like, you know, hey buddy, how's it going, you know. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, there's, there you go, there's 5 facts about me that you may not have known. And keep watching, stay tuned for my next episode, which will be the pre-fight show for UFC 189, Mendez versus McGregor for the interim UFC featherweight title. And down the line, no time set, but I would like to do another 5 facts about me that you may not have known. So yeah, watch out for both those episodes. And of course, I'll do a post-fight episode for McGregor and Mendez, and go McGregor. Anyways, so until then, see ya.